In 2025, there is no need to spend a hefty amount on a GPU, which is a main and most expensive part of a gaming system. Since we have lots of options, so the decision can be tricky and we do not want to end up with the wastage of our hard-earned cash. So I decided to present a GPU which fulfill most of gamers' requirement. And today's video is about a GPU which will not burden on pocket and does the job. RTX 3060 with 12 GB VRAM is a solid GPU in modern gaming. There is no such game which stopped me to enable all its features just because of running out of VRAM or produce insufficient frames. I have been playing lots of latest AAA games like The Last of Us 2 Remastered, Indiana Jones The Great Circle, Delta Force, etc. These all latest titles I can play with ultra, extreme, or supreme graphic settings. This GPU will not let you down. Where RTX 3060 been giving me solid performance, very good amount of FPS on 1080p and 1440p resolution, and I can also have fun with 4K gaming as well, where possible. I had lots of other options, better GPUs like RTX 3070 or RTX 3080 to switch. But when I push graphics details of some games bit higher, they demand more VRAM. Then I think if I cannot play games on higher details just because of lacking of VRAM, what is the point of spending extra money only to get higher FPS? What about the graphic details and features? This GPU falls in RTX series, so it supports all DLSS versions. DLSS is a machine or hardware-based upscaling and can be enabled only on RTX series GPUs. Since Nvidia are the pioneers to introduce upscaling in gaming, and their upscaling is hardware or machine-based. So DLSS is better quality than AMD FSR, Intel XES, or any other upscaling method. I have explained how upscaling works, multiply frames, and improve video quality in my previous videos. This GPU supports DLSS, and I can also use FSR, Intel XES, and FSR frame generation with this GPU, like any other GPU. Here I challenge if there is any game in the market which this wonderful GPU cannot play smoothly. Please mention in the comments section which game you want me to show its gameplay with RTX 3060. I will definitely add in my next video. I have shown my previous videos how I undervolt this GPU with MSI Afterburner, which reduced the power usage, temperature, and the other side improved performance as well. I also made a video how Nvidia App is so good for one-click overclocking. It took only a few minutes and everything was done automatically. Once I tried Radeon software for automatic overclock, which was not stable. And we all know how difficult is overclocking manually, where I have to spend hours to find sweet spot and sometimes not stable. Nvidia App overclocking was so good and solid, I never had a single crash since I overclocked my GPU. There are lots of new features in Nvidia App, which I am planning to publish another detailed video. This GPU can be a good combination with Intel 12400F or AMD's R55600 CPU, which will not bottleneck the GPU performance. Mostly my viewers are very smart. They decide the system specs according to their needs. But I also try to advise them which specs to pick where system would not bottleneck. 16 GB of RAM would be enough for most of the games, but very few games might require a bit more memory, like Flight Simulator, etc. Obviously, DDR5 is already in the market and impacts directly on FPS. For better performance, I would pick DDR5. RTX 3060 power consumption is around 160 watts, which is also a plus point for this budget-friendly GPU. So a 650 watts power supply with a single 8-pin power connector would be sufficient to power this GPU and the whole system, which is not exactly a high bar. I found Indiana Jones The Great Circle consumes lots of VRAM than any other game in the market. If I push graphics detail to supreme level while keeping the 1440p resolution, the VRAM consumption reached to 12 GB, which is the limit of this GPU, but in the gameplay, I could not find any stuttering or lagging issue. Yes, I noticed a couple of FPS drop, but the overall performance was amazing. This GPU can also do some ray tracing and path tracing, with or without help of DLSS. But if you want a proper ray tracing or path tracing experience, you would have to consider to spend an amount according to your budget and buy a bigger GPU. In the end, this GPU fulfills most of gamers' requirements in a less budget and produce very good results. I highly recommend RTX 3060 for latest games with extreme graphic details and 1440p resolution. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe and share. Please also turn on notification and stay tuned for my next upcoming videos. Bye for now.
Need to get away.